John Beltran with you. Let's get to the starting lineup here for the Sterling Tigers, coached by Jeff Squire. Batting first is the left fielder Tristan Manley. The third baseman Austin Nelson hits second. Batting third is the catcher Drew Book. Jacob Segui, the opposing pitcher, hits fourth. Batting fifth is the right fielder Grayson Dudley. Dylan Santamasso, the first baseman, hits sixth. Justin Ferguson, the center fielder, bats seventh. Caden Sheets is the shortstop, hitting eighth. He's a freshman, as is second baseman Trevor Roush, batting ninth. The Bee Diggers defensively again have a new look to them. The first baseman is Bryson Wooldridge. Jade Queen at second. Ben Garrett is the third baseman. Gunnar Guzman is the shortstop. Over and left is Ben Brown. The center fielder is Carson Rule. Josiah Henry in right. Behind the plate is Colin Cole. And on the mound is left-hander Justin Griffith, who struggled in his first outing against Valley as he allowed 8 runs. But he's a good, solid left-hander. Just a matter here of getting into the rhythm. And I think he'll feel much more comfortable at home, where he's been used to pitching a little bit more, as opposed to the road. That was a tough ask, even though he's a senior, for Justin Griffith opening up against the defending 3A champions. Opening pitch today is brought to you by Buildings by Design. The experience to complete your project from start to finish. Get the quality you deserve in your building by starting your build project right. Start with Buildings by Design. As we mentioned, it's pretty windy out here. It's very windy and brush. And I'm setting up here in left center field beyond the fence. I've never called a game from out here, but certainly the conditions are much more pleasant with some wind protection. So here we go to begin the game. With that opening pitch brought to you by Buildings by Design. And the left-hander Griffith delivers a bunt down the third base side fielder. The throw to first is in time. And an excellent play by Ben Garrett. He was ranging in as retired on the first play of the game. The first pitch is Tristan Manley, and there's one down on that attempted bunt attempt. All right, there's one down. Somebody attempted to call here through this phone. All right, so on one pitch, there's one out, as the play was made by Ben Garrett. And that sends up the number 2 hitter here for Sterling. We have a little bit of a delay. Apparently, I don't know if it's an equipment issue or something that Justin Griffith has got on his body, or the way he's towing the rubber. I guess the field umpire is making sure that he's actually towing the rubber, as Austin Nelson, the third baseman, will be standing in. Yeah, I've rarely seen that after one pitch. He's not removing anything, but he was pointing towards the rubber. So Nelson from the right side, Sterling in their gray uniforms, the Bee Diggers in their maroon jerseys with gray pants. Here's the wind and the pitch, and that changeup is in there for a strike on the outer half. Belt high, it's 0-1. And that's the rhythm that Justin Griffith wants to establish here in the early going, with one out and the bases empty, and the offering. And that is on the outside corner again. It's 0-2. What with a heater there? No balls and 2 strikes to Austin Nelson. Let's see if Griffith throws a waste pitch or something that gets Nelson chasing. And the offering. And he waves at it and misses. Strike 3 on the outside corner. And on 3 pitches, Nelson is struck out by Justin Griffith, and he took something off of that on a changeup down and away. An excellent pitcher's pitch, and there's 2 down here in the first inning for Drew Book. Drew Book, certainly a veteran right-hander here. They returned 6 starters from last year's team, and that changeup is in there for a strike. Nothing but strikes so far from Justin Griffith, operating on the outer half of the plate. The left-hander kicks and delivers, and that is up and away, and that levels the count at 1 strike. The Bee Diggers are looking for their first win of the year, playing with some of the younger players who have not played this year, including Ben Garrett, who made a nice play at third to begin the game. And the changeup is up and away. Ball 2, strike 1 to Drew Book. 2 down, nobody on here on the top of the first inning on a very windy Tuesday at Sunset Baseball Field in Brush. And the left-hander Griffith delivers. Swing and a miss. He pulled the string on that one. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Griffith looking for a 1-2-3. He's got plenty of experience on the mound. And number 2 fires. Swung on and grounded foul down the third base side. And the count remains at 2-2. Gunnar Guzman playing at short. His position has been more third base when he's been in there. But again, a brand new infield today. Bryson Woolridge did start at first against Weld Central. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the base is empty. And Griffith comes home. And that's up and away, way outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here to Drew Book with Jacob Segi, the opposing pitcher, on deck. Justin Griffith gets the sign from Colin Cole. And the 3-2. Swung on and grounded down the third baseline, foul. So the count remains at 3-2 here to Drew Book. The Sterling team 1 year ago was 1 out away from reaching the state tournament. They lost to Lamar in 8 innings in Lamar. 3-2. Swing and foul to the screen. He just got a piece of it. And again, Griffith challenging this hitter. It'll be another payoff pitch. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Here to Drew Book. And Griffith is challenging this right-handed hitter. The line and the offering. Swung on and fouled. Right behind the plate, got a piece of that one. If anything, they're building up Griffith's pitch count. He's thrown 13 pitches and 9 alone to this hitter. Needed only 4 pitches to retire the first 2. And the payoff pitch. Swung on and grounded slowly off the end of the bat towards the second baseman, charging and flipping the first underhand. And late, Jade Queen did everything he could do. He underhanded to Woolridge, but beating the ball out was Drew Book. And it's a 2-out infield single for the Tigers. And the inning continues here for Jacob Segi. Segi, another right-handed hitter in this lineup for Sterling. And now Griffith wants a new baseball as he flips it over to Colin Cole. Cargill Meat Solutions, committed to feeding the world in a responsible way by reducing environmental impact and improving products and processes. Learn about Cargill's story of commitment at Cargill.com. Well, I do wonder if those players in Europe for the international club, Wellen and Brown and Dunker and De Herrera, are able to tune in today. I'm sure it's past 10 o'clock in that region, 10 p.m., and that pitch is away. 1 ball and no strikes to the right-handed hitting Jacob Segi. Here in the top of the first inning, Griffith retired the first 2, but an infield single by Drew Book has kept this inning going. The stretch and the pitch, and that's up and away with a fastball. 2 balls and no strikes. And this is what Jade Queen struggled with in relief the other day. He retired the first 2 hitters very quickly against Weld Central in the 5th and 6th innings. And then Weld Central in the 5th scored 2 runs. This is a left-hander in Griffith now, 2-0. And that is low. 3 balls and no strikes. Here to Jacob Segi as he took something off it. On deck is Grayson Dudley. The stretch. 3-0 pitch. Swung on and line foul. And correction, it was 2-1, so apparently I thought there was a ball in there that was indeed a strike. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Yeah, I was wondering if he was swinging at a 3-0, but apparently one of those first 2 pitches was called a strike. 2-2 here to Jacob Segi. Man off for first to pitch, and that's up and in. Ball 3, strike 2. With 2 down in the top of the first inning. A very windy, cold Tuesday in Brush. And we are broadcasting beyond the left center field fence. And it's up and away, way outside, and Jacob Segi has walked. And then, all of a sudden, rounding second and tagged out at third by Ben Garrett was the lead runner there, Drew Book. Boy, that was very odd. Book just rounded first and went to third, rounded second and went to third. He was tagged out. I don't know what he was doing. I have no idea what he was doing, but he is tagged out by Ben Garrett, and the inning is over. That is a base-running blunder that, as soon as I put my head up after registering the walk on my score sheet, there was Drew Book getting tagged out. In the top of the first, no runs on no hits. No beat digger error, certainly a base running error. There was one hit, I should say, and a man left. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning. Sterling does not score. The beat diggers are coming to bat on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. Well, that was a very odd way to end the top of the first inning on a huge base running miscue off a walk to Jacob Segui, and Drew Boog just kept going. And he was tagged out at third. He must have gotten confused out there. The beat digger starting lineup brought to you by Equitable Savings and Loan, proud to be Northeast Colorado's locally owned hometown savings and loan, and Sterling Brush at Fort Morgan. Justin Griffith, the leadoff hitter, takes a strike, a fastball in the inside corner. Batting second for Brush will be Carson Rule. Bryson Wooldridge, the first baseman, hits third. And the breaking ball is popped up into left field. Should be a routine play. And coming in 3 steps and making the catch is Manley for the out. And Justin Griffith is retired. Batting fourth for the Beat Diggers in today's lineup is the left fielder Ben Brown. I thought Brown was on that trip. Let's see. That's what they're showing here. Colin Cole hits fifth. Gunnar Guzman bats sixth. The shortstop, Jade Queen, the second baseman, at seventh. Ben Garrett at third, at eighth. Josiah Henry bats ninth, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. All right, so my correction there. Well, I guess broadcasting from a different spot has got me a little bit thrown off, and that pitch is inside to Carson Rule. 1 ball and 1 strike. We're at the bottom of the first inning, no score, as Sterling had a limited threat, and the right-hander Segui delivers, and that is a little bit low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jacob Segui gets the sign and the pitch, and that curveball is up and in. 3-1. Yeah, I was told there were 4. So we know Wellen is out, De Herrera is out, Caleb Cox is out, and Dunker's out. So that makes sense. Those are the 4. 3-2 as that pitch is in there for a strike at the knees with a fastball. 1 out and the base is empty here in the bottom of the first inning. Here's the wine and offering. Swung on and grounded up the middle. Perfect 2-hopper for the shortstop. A low throw, and it skips by the first baseman, Sanamaso, as Caden Sheets, a freshman, commits the error. And the Beat Diggers have a man on here in the bottom of the first inning. That was a routine play for Sheets, but he threw it right into the ground, and his first baseman, Sanamaso, could not save him. So the Beat Diggers now have a man at first with 1 down for Bryson Wooldridge, hitting for the right side. All right, so he steps in. Wooldridge, again, the rare left-handed thrower and right-handed hitter, as is Carson Rule, the pitch. And that is up there for a strike on the upper half of the zone. No balls and 1 strike. Here to Bryson Wooldridge. Took something off of that fastball. No score, bottom of the first inning in Brush. The stretch. Rule with a 2-step lead. Long pause by Segui. And that pitch is a strike on the outer half, belt high. With a fastball, it's no balls and 2 strikes. The Bay Diggers, after struggling on defense against Ken Denver, played flawless against Weld Central. And the offering, up and in. Nice job of the catcher Book, able to snag that baseball. Obviously a waste pitch, 1 ball and 2 strikes. With 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. And no score here in Brush. The stretch by Segui, and the offering, swung on and fouled to the screen on the off-speed pitch, and it's still 1-2. B-Diggers and Eaton Reds will play on Thursday at 4 o'clock right here from Brush, hopefully under more baseball-like conditions. Yeah, if you're inside and you look outside, you say, man, what a beautiful day we have here in Brush. But, man, you combine the wind and the temperature, throw back to first, back in diving is Rule, and you say to yourself, nope, that is not the case. At all, because even a wimp like me is taking advantage of a different view. And the breaking ball is a called strike 3 on the inside corner, and striking out is Bryson Wooldridge, and there's 2 down. 2 down here in the second. Let's see, I got to look at my lineup card, and actually I can tell you right now, And the pitch is taken for a strike. Yeah, let me correct that. That's Hunter Ludgate. All right. Hunter Ludgate now stepping in for Brush. He's the number 4 hitter. And the first pitch is taken there for a strike. The stretch. All right, that's where I had the lineup incorrect on my score sheet. And that breaking ball is strike 2. Here to Ludgate. No balls and 2 strikes. With a man on. And 2 down. The stretch. And the offering. That's outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Hunter Ludgate. Ludgate digging in with a 1 ball, 2 strike count. And the pitch swung on and tapped slowly on the left side. Charging hard as the third baseman with no play. No play whatsoever for the third baseman, Austin Nelson. It's an infield hit. Nice job of Ludgate, who really got down the line. So the Bee Diggers take advantage there of the slow roller and Ludgate with a speed. And Brush has their first hit of the game and a threat here in the bottom of the first inning. And here is Colin Cole. Cole out of the 5-hole. The stretch by Segui. Runners take their leads. Rule at second, the pitch. And that fastball is right there for a strike, belt high. And it's no balls and 1 strike. Colin Cole is hit in different spots in this lineup. Here's the stretch. And Cole awaits the 0-1. And here it is. And the breaking ball is a little bit low and away. And that levels the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the pitch. Boy, that looked pretty good from here. It is. It's a fastball at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes here. We're in the bottom of the first inning. The Bee Diggers are looking to threaten and score. They are threatening, but hoping to score here in this frame. 1 and 2 with 2 down. Segui at the belt. Segui turns. He fires. And that's a fastball that's upstairs. And the count is at 2 and 2. The Bee Diggers, even though they're 0 and 3, have had a lead in every one of their games. Early against Valley, a 2-0 against Ken Denver, and the breaking ball's in the dirt, and it skips away. San Tomaso looks for the baseball. The runners advance in the wild pitch. Ruled to third, and to second is Hunter Ludgate. And now it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Colin Cole with Gunnar Guzman, a big strong bat on deck. And Segui will operate out of the stretch on a 3-2 pitch. And that is way outside, and Colin Cole walks to load the bases. So the bases are loaded in a big spot here for senior Gunnar Guzman in the first inning. You need your vehicle and farm equipment to be in top shape, so make sure you take care of them by purchasing the best quality parts at great prices at your local Napa store, Central Auto Parts in Fort Morgan. Segui stretches. And Segui delivers. And that fastball is upstairs to the right-handed hitting senior shortstop. 1 ball and no strikes. Follow us on Twitter at KSIR Sports, as well as the 1010 KSIR Sports Facebook page. And the offering. Swung on. That ball is driven down the right field line and deep and to his left. And making the running catch for Sterling, preventing at least a couple of runs, is Grayson Dudley. And Gunnar Guzman gave it a ride, but the Bee Diggers do not score here in the bottom of the first inning. Brush does get a run. They benefit from an error, and the bases were left loaded. Let's head to the second in Brush. The Bee Diggers nothing, the Sterling Tigers nothing on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Let's head to the second inning at Sunset Baseball Field in Brush, where the Bee Diggers and Sterling Tigers are scoreless. As the Bee Diggers had the bases loaded to end the bottom of the first inning. Good at bat there by Gunnar Guzman as he laced that ball into right field, but Grayson Dudley was able to track it down. And Dudley will begin this frame for Sterling, followed by Dylan Santomaso and Dustin Ferguson, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters, against left-hander Justin Griffith. And to give you an idea of how far away I am from the action, but still with a very good view. I'm probably about 30 feet behind the left fielder, Hunter Ludgate. Here's the wind and pitch, and that one's in the dirt by Justin Griffith. 1 ball and no strikes. Griffith had a strikeout in the opening frame where he threw 20 pitches because Drew Book engineered a 10-pitch at bat, swung on, lined, and caught by the third baseman, Garrett. To his right off the ground, and there's one down, and Ben Garrett has made 2 tremendous plays in this game. Well, that's a good-looking third baseman there for the Bee Diggers, so 1 down for Dylan Santamasso. And that ball was laced by Dudley. Santamasso, the 6th consecutive right-handed hitter. Wind and pitch, and that one is low. 1 ball and no strikes. Here to Santamasso. Justin Griffith wanting to economize his pitch count. And Griffith kicks and delivers. And that's up and away with a changeup. 2 balls and no strikes. So once again, Nick Wellen, Isaac De Herrera, Ben Brown, Ryan Dunker, Caleb Cox. Not with the Bee Diggers for the next 4 games. Swung on, grounded up the middle. The shortstop Guzman backs up, sets, fires to first. High, and it's offline and off the glove of Woolridge. Around first into second is Santamasso. The throw there, and that's going to be late. And both shortstops have committed an error in this game. And that was simply a case of, from my vantage point, of Guzman just not following through, and that ball's airmailed to first baseman Woolridge. And those are the only errors so far. Hopefully that'll stay that way. Now we have the first left-handed hitter of the game in Dustin Ferguson. Here's the stretch by Griffith. And he fires. That's a strike, a beauty there at the knees. Right down the middle of the fastball. It's 0-1. That's the first error the Bee Diggers have committed since the second game of the season against Ken Denver, when they made a lot of miscues in the infield. The pitch, swung on and grounded right side. Woolridge cannot get to it, but it's just foul. So it is 0-2. Yeah, the disadvantage with a left-handed throwing first baseman is if the ball is hit down the line, it's much tougher to track, but then again, he protects the hole between first and second base with the glove on the right hand. No balls and 2 strikes. The last time Griffith had this situation, he struck out Nelson on 3 pitches. Now the sun has disappeared. The pitch swung on. That ball is grounded off the second baseman's glove into shallow right field, and rounding third and scoring and making this a 1-0 game is back to first is going to be Dustin Ferguson as Santamasso touches home plate. But that will be an error on the second baseman, Queen. Certainly a very makeable play, and the Bee Diggers have errors on back-to-back batters. And Griffith could have been out of this inning. But it's 1-0 Sterling here in the early going. Here's a couple of freshmen coming up in Caden Sheets and Trevor Roush, both very talented. The stretch and the offering. Swung on, grounded left side for a base hit into left field. Ferguson will round second and hold up right there. And that's the way rallies get started. That's the way they get started. You get one mistake after the other. But again, these are situations where, at least with that second error, where Queen doesn't have a lot of experience at second. Well, Guzman has got a lot of varsity experience, but certainly not a ton at short, even though he'll tell you that he should have made that play easily. He's used to throwing those BBs from third base. Here's Trevor Roush. The left-hander Griffith looks back to pitch, and that is taken a little bit low and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Sterling had a base hit in the first, and he did not score, but they've scored here in the second, the offering. And that is a strike on the outer half. Again, took something off of that. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Bee Diggers' 4-game stretch here without a lot of their starters will be Eaton on Thursday, following today Fort Morgan a week from Thursday. Runner going to third. The pitch is high. The throw to third. The tag. And safe. It's a stolen base for Dustin Ferguson. And on the back end, Sheets is at second. So it's a double steal and a 2 ball, 1 strike count here to Trevor Roush. in the top of the second inning. The stretch by Griffith. And the offering. And that is up and away. It's 3 balls and 1 strike, and Tristan Manley, a very dangerous hitter, is on deck. So what will the B-Diggers do here? And let's see what Griffith fires in. Swung on and chopped left side. Third baseman Garrett has it. Looks to third. Throws to first for the out. Now breaking for the plate is Ferguson. And the throw is going to be late. He slides in safely and cheats to third. No RBI. And Sterling now leads 2-0. But Ben Garrett did everything he could do because that chopper was one that he had to charge. And so far we're seeing some very impressive play out of the B-Digger third baseman. But again, certainly can't blame him there. So there's 2 down with a man at third. And here's Tristan Manley. He bunted into an out that was fielded by Garrett. Griffith at the belt. And the pitch. And the off-speed is going to be up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. A rough inning for Brush with the 2 errors. As a result, 2 runs have been scored here by Sterling. Griffith gets a sign from Cole. And the offering. That's high and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Colorado Plains Medical Center has experienced physicians and a highly trained surgical team trained in the latest surgical procedures. Explore what procedures are possible in your hometown. Colorado Plains Medical Center. That's a strike. With a fastball belt high, it's 2-1. By the way, that 4th and final game during the stretch in which Brown, Cox, Dunker, De Herrera, and, hold on, we'll get to that in a second. Swing and a foul. Those players are gone. Will be against Resurrection Christian on March 31st. And I think I was 1 short. Brown, Cox, Welland, De Herrera, and Dunker. Those are the 5. Stretch. And Griffith with a 2-2. Upstairs with a fastball. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Griffith threw 21 pitches in the opening inning. 18 so far here in the second. And it's a 2-0 Sterling lead with a man at third. Tristan Manley, a second at bat already in this game. Digs in. The offering. That is high and outside. And it's another walk here issued in this frame by Justin Griffith. And remember, without a couple of those arms, they are certainly limited. So Griffith is going to have to pitch quite a bit in this one. And that'll bring up Austin Nelson. He struck out on 3 pitches in the first. And the offering. And that nearly hit him. He had to back out of the way. 1 ball and no strikes. Sheets at third, Manley at first. Sterling has 2 across here in the second inning on a very windy Tuesday from Sunset Baseball Field. Griffith at the belt. And the pitch. Takes something off it for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Belt high on the outer half for Justin Griffith. So he's still in the same number of pitches now in the second as he did in the first. Griffith stretches. And the throw back to first, and back in standing is Manley. The B-Diggers played a very quick game on Saturday in a 3-2 loss. The first 2 games, though, approached 2.5 hours, and were at a slower pace in this one right now. And the pitch. Swung on and chopped over the mound. The third baseman, Garrett, charges. Now the shortstop, Guzman, deep in the hole, throws, and out. Guzman, a nice play as Garrett couldn't get to it. Actually wasn't deep in the hole as he was charging, but Gunnar Guzman makes the play, and the B-Diggers get out of that inning. However, some damage was done by Sterling. 2 runs on 1 hit, 2 errors, and 2 men left. Let's head to the bottom of the second inning. Sterling is in the lead in Brush, 2-0 on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. I'm John Beltran as we head to the bottom of the second inning, where the B-Diggers trail the game by a score of 2-0. Here to the Sterling Tigers. Brush left the bases loaded. In the bottom of the first inning, here's Jade Queen, followed by Ben Garrett and Josiah Henry. Again, this is an opportunity for the younger players who don't start to shine in this one. And Jacob Segge's pitch is up and away. 1 ball and no strikes here to Queen, who's the B-Diggers' second baseman today. Segge gets the sign from Santamasso. And the pitch swung on and grounded into right field for a base hit. And the throw's going to be made towards first, and Queen is in there. But that's how hard the ball was hit, and Dudley unleashed it towards first base, but Queen has got a lot of speed. So the B-Diggers pick up their second hit of the game, equaling Sterling's total. And that'll bring up Ben Garrett. Garrett getting his first varsity at bat. Off of first is Queen. Jacob Segge delivers. Up and in. Runner going to second. The throw by Santamasso, and it skips over Sheets, and it's backed up by the center fielder Ferguson. That'll be a straight-up steal for the speedy Jade Queen. And that's what Coach Kevin Fergus realizes he's got to do, get these players in motion. And that's what he did right there with Queen. Especially knowing that the bottom of the lineup has no varsity at bats this year, talking about Garrett and Josiah Henry. 1-0, and that's up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. The board says 1-0, but I believe that's 2-0. I think they're wondering what happened on the first pitch. Segge, long pause, and delivers, and that is in there for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here to Ben Garrett. From the bottom of the second inning, Sterling leads 2-0. The B-Diggers helped them out a little bit there. And the pitch. And that ball hit him. Got him around the left shoulder as Garrett tried to turn out of the way and was nailed by the pitch. And now the B-Diggers have something going here in the bottom of the second with Josiah Henry. Well, Henry, a very good athlete for Brush. Let's see what he can deliver. Now, this will be an interesting call here, whether Coach Fergus calls for some small ball, maybe some bunting to advance the runners, knowing you have Justin Griffith and Carson Rule coming up. B-Diggers hitting under 200 as a team going into the game, but their on base is pretty good with all the walks they were issued in the first 2 games, and that is right there for a strike with a fastball down the middle. It's 0-1. No balls and 1 strike here to Henry. Queen off of second, Garrett off of first, a single and a hit batsman. The pitch and the breaking ball swung on, grounded to the shortstop. Sheets steps on the bag for 1, throws to first, and that's a double play. And now the throw to third, and the ball skips away, and Queen's going to break for the plate, and he's going to score, and the third baseman, Austin Nelson, is down. That took a vicious hop, and I think it hit him right around the facial area, a vicious hop, as they were trying for an unconventional triple play, and in fact, all of the Sterling Tigers are out there. Wow, that took a tremendously bad hop. But it was a low throw, so it's supposed to take a bad hop. And Nelson tried to block it, but I think he blocked it, unfortunately, with the upper part of his body, maybe his face, but it looks like he's going to be okay. He's still on his knees. Man, that is a tough kid out there. But it will be an error on the first baseman, Santamasso, allowing the run to score. And check that. That will be the error. So it will be 2-1. Nelson is now up. Yeah, I think he's going to stay in the game. And they're still attending to him right now. So he's walking around, and yeah, Nelson's going to stay in the game. But that was such a vicious hop on that errant throw there by Santamasso. And I keep seeing Santamasso's behind the plate. Drew Book is behind the plate. Santamasso's the first baseman. So Sterling, in essence, commits their second error. But Nelson is okay. That's a good thing for him. And and for the Sterling Tigers as well. That's a tough player there. Here is Justin Griffith. He popped out his first time out to the left fielder, Tristan Manley. 2-1. The Bee Diggers have cut the lead in half. Wine in the pitch with the bases empty, 2 down, up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. That first Bee Digger run of the game brought to you by Western Engineering Consultants, providing civil engineering services for aviation, municipal, commercial, and residential clients in Colorado. Western Engineering is invested and involved in the communities they work in. Western Engineering Consultants. Fastball's in there for a strike to Justin Griffith. 1 ball and 1 strike. And now Griffith calls time as he steps out. Jacob Segi gets the sign and the pitch. And the breaking ball doesn't break. It stays high. It is 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 to Griffith, and that's taken on the outside corner at the knees, and the count is now level at 2-2. Both teams have scored in this frame. And the pitch, breaking ball, swung on, grounded slowly right side, an easy play, tossing over to first is Sanamaso to Segi, 3-1 to end the inning, and that does it for the Bee Diggers. However, the Bee Diggers do score a run. They do it on 1 hit. There was a Sterling error, and the bases were left empty. To the third we go after the 1-minute break with a score from Brush. Sterling 2, and the Bee Diggers 1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Sterling leads Brush and Brush 2-1. Later on today we'll be featuring more of the Brush Bee Digger baseball history segments. We had a couple during Game 1 and 1 in Game 2. Nothing on Saturday, but we have more to come on great moments in Brush Bee Digger baseball history. Sterling scored their 2 runs 1 inning ago. The Bee Diggers countered on an error by the first baseman Sanamaso, scoring Jade Queen, who had a base hit earlier in that frame. And now coming up for Sterling will be the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. A big inning for Justin Griffith, who's thrown 43 pitches. Drew Book, Jacob Segi, and Grayson Dudley. Here's the wind and pitch, and that bounces in. 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, I'd like to find out what the game time temperature is here, or even the temperature right now. We'll try to get that to you, which doesn't matter as much as the wind. Swung on and chopped foul up the third base side. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, it's showing about 50 degrees. The pitch swung on, that is grounded foul down the third base side. But again, that 50 feels a lot colder. Not sure how much colder, but there's definitely a variance here because of the wind. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter in the third. That is Drew Book, the catcher for Sterling. And the pitch by Griffith. And the breaking ball is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. When you're shopping for new appliances, shop the best appliance store in Fort Morgan with a complete line of Whirlpool appliances, B&B Appliance. And the left-hander fires. Swung on and popped up to the shortstop Guzman. He's coming in, and it'll be Griffith, the pitcher, backing up, and he made the catch as he fell down. Griffith had to back up. That's usually a play for an infielder, but Griffith apparently took control and then lost a little bit of control before making the catch, and that tells you how much the wind is blowing in, which is why we're set up out here instead of behind the plate, set up out here being left center field. It looked like Guzman's ball easily, but the wind kept carrying that baseball towards the hitter. And there's 1 down. Well, that should give you the idea. And here is Jacob Segi. Left-handed hitter. The pitch. Swung on and chopped slowly back towards the mound. Griffith has it. Takes 2 steps. Throws to first in time. And there's 2 down. Now let's see if Griffith can get this next out very easily, because I think he's pitched pretty well. He's pitched very well. I mean, he has issued a couple of walks, but he was certainly worked over by a couple of batters who were just extending his pitch count. Griffith, 49 pitches, a couple of walks, 2 hits, and he's got 1 strikeout of Austin Nelson. And that is taken for a strike. Up at the belt to Grayson Dudley, who lined to the third baseman Garrett in his first at-bat to lead off the second. Justin Griffith, the lefty, delivers up and away, and the count levels at 1 strike. Griffith doesn't like to waste too much time. Just get the baseball on fire and get back into that warmer dugout. And that is up and away. Ball 2, strike 1 to Dudley. 2 runs on 2 hits for Sterling, 1 run on 2 hits for Brush. Both teams have committed 2 errors. Both teams have stranded 3 on the base paths. Griffith comes home, and that is low. 3-1. And again, getting that third out. Griffith not too happy with himself, but this batter's still in the box. He's got a chance to retire Grayson Dudley. Here in the top of the third inning. Justin Griffith kicks and fires, and he bounced that one and short-armed it completely. And it's the third walk issued there by Justin Griffith with 2 outs here in the third, and that'll bring up Dylan Santamasso, who reached on an error. And that's what opened up the small floodgates there in the second. Griffith looks over towards first, and the pitch. And that is taken up and in. But we got a strike out of it. All right, there's the call. No balls and 1 strike. It just got the inside corner belt high. The offering. And that one is definitely upstairs. The count is at 1-1, just a little bit higher than the previous pitch. This is a big, strong right-handed hitter. So what was termed a strike there might have been a ball to some of the other hitters. 1-1 here to Santamasso, the pitch. And a check swing, and that looks like it's up and away. Or was that taken? The board says a strike. As Santamasso steps out. Yep, it's going to be 1-2. Man, tough to tell. He's almost blocking the umpire completely here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Let's see if Griffith can put him away. The pitch, and that's down and in. Count levels at 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Dylan Santamasso. 2 down here in the top of the third. The B-Diggers are trailing by a run with a man at first as Sterling is looking to try to score here, and that pitch is upstairs. And now the count goes to 3-2. Again, that third out has evaded Griffith. Like in the first inning, he was able to get it, but evaded him without some trouble. That's the thing. He's extending his pitch count when he'd like to get out of this sooner. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that pitch is fouled. Remains at 3-2. Sterling with both runs in the second. The B-Diggers counter with a run in the bottom of the second. The runner, Grayson Dudley, will be taking off here on a 3-2 pitch. Here it is, and he bounces that one, and it's a walk. But this time, the runner will stay at second. In the first inning, the runner just kept going to third, and it ended up being a tag-out situation, a very strange play. All right, Dustin Ferguson reached on an error and later scored. He's up there with 2 on and 2 out, 61 pitches so far for Griffith. And the offering. And that one bounces in, but blocked by Cole, no advance. 1 ball and no strikes. One 1-0 here to Ferguson. Caden Cheats on deck. This is the number 7 hitter in the Sterling lineup. Griffith looks back. There's the pause and the 1-0. Down and away. Nowhere close with it. All-speed pitch. It's 2-0. And one of the issues he's having is the ratio, the strike-to-ball ratio, 33 strikes and 30 balls. Nice job of the senior catcher, Colin Cole, out to discuss things with his pitcher. Got to get him in rhythm here after retiring the first 2 hitters easily. And he did it on just, I believe, 3 pitches. But now, again, it's these 2-out pitches that he continues to throw here in this third inning as he did in the first. The 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. 2-1 Sterling, top 3. Here on a somewhat glorious day. The sun is out, but everything else is cold and windy. And the pitch. Boy, that one is in the dirt as well, 3-0. And it's almost like Griffith's legs are getting tired because he's short-armed a couple pitches. He's got to get those legs into the pitch. 3 balls and no strikes to Ferguson. And the offering. And that is in there for a strike as Ferguson threw the bat towards the dugout thinking it was ball 4, but it caught the inside corner. 3-1 here to Ferguson. At second is Dudley. Sanamaso at first. The offering. Swung on, and that ball's grounded up the middle. The second baseman, Queen, backhands, flips to second for the out. An excellent play by Jade Queen as that ball was headed towards center field, and that's an all-star play for Queen. And Brush gets out of that jam here in the top of the 3rd inning. So Sterling in the inning, no runs. No hits, no errors, and 2 men left. They've stranded 5. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's Sterling 2 and the Bee Diggers 1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Carson Rule leads off for Brush in the bottom of the 3rd and takes a pitch outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Rule reached on an error by the shortstop Sheets. And the offering. And that one's down and away. Jacob Segge's got a live arm, but he's shown some inconsistency in the past during his junior year. Let's see if 1 more year of experience produces more consistent results. The Bee Diggers are hoping for something else. Swung on, grounded into right field for a base hit. And Carson Rule took that 2-0 pitch the other way, similar to Jade Queen. And Jade Queen ended up scoring in the 2nd, and the Bee Diggers have the leadoff man on here in the 3rd. That'll bring up Bryson Wooldridge, who struck out looking. Wooldridge is not a guy who had many varsity at-bats last year. In fact, I don't know if he had 1 and very limited this year. But he's in the 3 hole, so there's a reason for that. He certainly knows how to handle the stick. Off of first, Rule, and the throw back to first. He's back in diving. The Bee Diggers trail 2-1 here in the bottom of the 3rd. The stretch by Segge. And the pitch swung on and lifted foul off to the right. No balls and 1 strike. 100 years of growth from their simple beginning in 1917. That's 101 now to today's Thriving Food Products Corporation. That's Trinidad, Benham, and Sterling, proud supporters of Northeast Colorado sports. No balls and 1 strike. And the pitch. And the breaking ball is a strike. On the outside corner at the knees, it's 0-2. Infield a double play depth. Caden Sheets already turned 1 on his own in that 2nd inning. Off of first is Rule. And Segge with the 0-2, and that's up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, both pitchers have thrown their share of pitches, although Griffith is averaging over 20 pitches an inning. Segge's thrown 43 through 2+. So we should see the bullpen sometime later in the game, and that breaking ball is up and in. It is 2-2 to Bryson Wooldridge. This is the only game so far that the Bee Diggers have not led. Even in their 3 losses, throw back to first, Rule back in diving, they led in all of those games. 1-0 early against Valley, 2-0 against Ken Denver, and then had a 1-0 lead against Weld Central. Swing and a miss and a fastball up and in. And Wooldridge goes down swinging. And he has struck out twice. And that'll send up Hunter Ludgate. Ludgate had an infield single his first time up. The Bee Digger left fielder awaits the first pitch. Segge at the belt. And here it comes. And that is an upstairs fastball, but it's going to be taken for a strike. That's one of those high strikes. Belt high, it's 0-1. Got the top of the zone. Again, Segge. Kicks and fires. And that breaking ball's in the dirt, and they're going to check it first. I don't think he went. It didn't look like he went at all. And that'll even the count at 1-1. The appeal is unsuccessful. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Ludgate. 2-1 Sterling. Rule off of first to pitch. And that fastball is low. Ball 2, strike 1. 27 strikes, 21 balls here so far for Jacob Segge. Segge stretches. And Jacob Segi delivers. And that's in the dirt with a curveball. It is 3-1. Keep in mind, a week from Thursday, we're 9 days away. We'll have the Rockies and Diamondbacks, that first game from Arizona. Now, that day, the B-Diggers play here against Fort Morgan. Keep in mind, that's a B106 game. B106 and B106.com. Swung on and fisted foul to the screen. So the only Brush game that we will not have on KSIR and KSIR.com will be against Fort Morgan. That'll be on B106 and B106.com Thursday, March 29th at 4 o'clock. And that's been the case every year. The Brush Fort Morgan game is always on our FM. It'll be a 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. And the breaking ball is a called strike 3. Hunter Ludgate goes down. Boy, he didn't see that breaking ball coming. And there's 2 down. And the first 2 hitters have been retired after Carson Rule single that is via the strikeout. 3 strikeouts for Jacob Segi. Here's Cole, who walked. Cole has walked a ton of times this year. The pitch, and that is outside. He had 4 walks against Ken Denver, another against World Central, 1 in this one so far. So he doesn't have many at-bats, a lot of plate appearances, and the best on-base percentage on the team. And that fastball's a strike, just above the belt. 1 ball and 1 strike to the senior B-Digger catcher, Colin Cole. Sterling leads 2-1 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Carson Rule led off with a base hit. He's still at first with 2 down. Segi with a long pause. Segi looks in. Segi delivers. Curveball is down and in. Ball 2, strike 1 to Colin Cole. Bank of Colorado is a proud supporter of local sports and academics. There's only one Colorado and one bank dedicated to help you the most, or make you the most of living here. The pitch, and the breaking ball is a strike. That's Bank of Colorado, member FDIC, a proud supporter of local sports and academics. Bank of Colorado, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1 on. Segi stretches. Cole awaits. And the offering. And the curveball is just outside. I mean, that tells you how good his eye has been this year. And the one thing the B-Diggers have done consistently well in the first 3+ games is not swing at bad pitches. All right, Rule will be taking off from first. 3-2. Curveball is down and away. And Cole walks again for the 2nd time in this game. And that pitch was close, but Cole knows exactly where the strike zone's at. And here is Gunnar Guzman, who lined to right with the bases loaded in the 1st. It was flagged down by Dudley. And that was a big play in this game because the Brush would have taken the early lead. Now 1st and 2nd. Jacob Segi looks back at 2nd, and he fires. That fastball's extremely high. Throw back to 1st, and Cole is going to be... Did he get back in? I think he did, and then he came off the bag. He's going to be safe, but Cole nearly got caught napping, and there's going to be a discussion here. Squire not happy about that. They're looking for help from the home plate umpire. Cole was well off of 1st, and then tried to get back in. I don't know if the tag was applied. He might be called out here on appeal. Let's see what happens. The field umpire and the home plate umpire are having a discussion, and if he's called out, Kevin Fergus is going to storm out of that Brush dugout. And he is called out. Yep. He is called out. And, nope, I don't think Coach Fergus is actually he's not storming out of the dugout, because I thought from here, from this vantage point, that the tag was there, but maybe the field umpire didn't see it, and Coach Fergus, I guess, knew that as well and anticipated the out call. So the B-Diggers make a base-running miscue, and Colin Cole is tagged out. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a man left. Let's head to the 4th inning in Brush. It's Sterling 2, the B-Diggers 1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. All right, let's head to the 4th inning here in Brush, where the B-Diggers trail the Sterling Tigers by a score of 2-1. It'll be Caden Sheets and Trevor Roush, followed by Tristan Manley, 2 freshmen to begin the inning against Justin Griffith. The wind and pitch, and that's up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. All the runs were scored 2 innings ago. And the offering swung on and grounded right back to Griffith. He'll take a few steps underhand to first. And Caden Sheets, who singled in his first at-bat, is out number 1. And again, this is what Griffith has done in 3 of the first 4 innings. He's retired, in fact, the first 2 hitters in the first and third. It's getting that third out that has extended his pitch count. Here's Trevor Roush. He grounded a short. Pitches up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. This will be the 70th pitch delivered by Griffith. Again, the limit is 110 before the B-Diggers have to go to the bullpen. You want to get at least 5 out of this left-hander. The senior comes home. Again, up and away. 2 balls and no strikes. And this is the 9th hitter, so you want to get this guy. But Trevor Roush, I mean, I saw him play as an 8th grader. He's a good player. He's a good hitter. And part of the reason he's hitting out of the 9 hole is because he's so young. 2-0. That is very high. 3 balls and no strikes. 36 strikes and 35 balls thrown by Justin Griffith so far. And the offering, not even close, way outside. And that's been the bugaboo here for Griffith. Those walks that he wants to avoid. And that's number 5 already for Justin Griffith. We'll have a visit to the hill. Here with 1 down in the 4th inning. The B-Diggers made a couple of errors in that 2nd inning that led to those 2 runs. But then Sterling made an error in the bottom of the 2nd that got Jade Queen to cross home plate. Sterling 1-1 going into the game. The B-Diggers are 0-3. And Brush is just thinking right now, just pick up 1 win. 1 win is all you need to get the ball rolling. And I know that sounds cliche-ish, but with this very difficult schedule, Eaton, which was ranked number 1 just over a week ago, is coming up on Thursday. Fort Morgan is very strong in Class 4A, and they're coming up a week from Thursday. And then you've got a Resurrection Christian team that is always very competitive a week from Saturday to close out the month of March. Tristan Manley is 0 for 1. The pitch, he squares to bunt, and did he get a piece of the baseball? I don't see nothing on the board there. It looked like he squared to bunt. And it's going to be called a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Pull the bat back. Manley walked after his bunt ground out there to Ben Garrett to begin the game. Hitting with an open stance for the right side. Snap throw to first, and back in diving is Trevor Roush. Yeah, if you get 5 more outs of your Griffith and you leave it to the bullpen for innings 6 and 7, I'm sure they'll be happy with that to get 5 out of him because they couldn't get through 3 against Valley a week ago. Throw back to first and leaning and out! Over there is Trevor Roush, and he's picked off by Griffith. There's 2 down. Boy, a gorgeous pickoff throw there by Justin Griffith. I talk about economizing pitches there. So 2 down, so Manley's up there with the bases empty. And Griffith fires. Swung on and popped foul out of play behind the backstop. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. We're in the top half of the 4th inning. Maybe this is a good omen for Brush that they didn't lead early. Because, again, the first 3 games when they did, they ended up losing those games. And the pitch. And that one bounces right off the leg of Manley. It took a hop and then hit him. That's the 2nd hit batsman in this game. Both by Griffith. Here's Austin Nelson. He struck out and grounded out. He's 0 for 2. And, again, Griffith was going for... Well, that would not have been a conventional 1, 2, 3 innings since he walked the 2nd hitter. So once again, Sterling with a little bit of a threat. They've stranded 5. The B-Diggers have left 4 on base. Swing and a miss on a changeup that was diving in the zone. No balls and 1 strike to Austin Nelson. And this wind continues to whip towards the plate. And the offering. That looks like a good one from here. It is a fastball in the outer half. It's 0-2. And this time he might not even be concerned with Manley. Manley's got a lot of speed over there. Griffith with a no ball, 2-strike count. Delivers. And the curveball called strike 3. A beautiful pitch, pelt high. And Justin Griffith strikes out Austin Nelson for the second time in the game on 3 pitches. For Sterling, no runs on no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We're 3.5 completes in Brush with the score. Sterling 2 and the Bee Diggers 1 on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. It'll be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Brush. Gunnar Guzman followed by Jade Queen and Ben Garrett. Guzman was up there when Colin Cole was picked off to end the 3rd inning. Sterling with a 2-1 lead. And right-hander Jacob Segi continues with pitch number 59. And that's a fastball for a strike on the outer half at the knees. It's 0-1. Guzman, Queen, and Garrett, 6, 7, and 8 for the Bee Diggers. Segi delivers, and that breaking ball is up and in. And the count is level at 1 ball and 1 strike. Anybody's ball game here in Brush. And the pitch, and that's in the dirt. Down and away. 2-1 here to Gunnar Guzman. Line and pitch. Swung on. That ball's grounded up the middle. The shortstop, Sheets behind the bag, has it. Fires to first for the out. And that's an excellent play for the freshman, Caden Sheets. And there's 1 down. And again, Gunnar Guzman's had 2 at-bats here where he's hit the ball very well, but the right fielder Dudley tracked down a line drive in the first. And then that ball hit right there. Jade Queen singled and scored for the Bee Diggers in the 2nd. Jacob Segi gets the sign from Drew Book. And Jacob Segi comes home. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. No balls and 1 strike. The Bee Diggers are out hitting Sterling 3-2, but trailing 2-1. And Segi fires. Swung on. That is lifted to deep right field. Dudley is way back along the line, and that ball's going to drop, and it's twisting into foul territory, but it is foul right off the bat. Oh, man. I thought it was going to stay fair as Dudley was still running full steam, but it is a foul ball, and it's 0-2. Yeah, I think that was more of an inside-out swing. And Dudley is shading Queen towards right center field, so he had a long run just to get to the ball in foul territory, let alone had it stayed fair. Here's the wind by Segi, and the 0-2. Swung on and grounded slowly left side for a base hit beyond the diving third baseman Sanamaso. Or check that, Nelson at third, who's built very similar to Sanamaso, and the Bee Diggers have their 4th hit. And Jade Queen is now 2 for 2 off that base hit into left. Here is Ben Garrett. He was hit by a pitch. And I think I said that both pitchers had hit a batter, or that Griffith had hit 2 batters, but the case is both pitchers have hit 1, and we'll have a visit to the hill with 1 out and a man at first. As Brush does have 4 hits in the game. And trailing 2-1 here in this bottom of the 4th inning. Yeah, they've had base runners in every inning, as have the Sterling Tigers. You'd think this would be a higher scoring game at this point. Whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Ehrlich Toyota East in Fort Morgan will fit you into the car truck of your choice, serving all of Northeast Colorado, that is, Ehrlich Toyota East. So here comes Ben Garrett. And perhaps Sterling might be playing for a bunt or something like that, trying to defend against it. But there is 1 out. And this is the number 8 hitter with Josiah Henry on deck. The stretch by Segi. And the pitch. And it's taken for a strike, and the throw outside, or toward the first baseman, but off the mark, I should say. No balls and 1 strike here to Ben Garrett. Jacob Segi at the belt. And the pitch. And the curveball's inside runner going to second to throw it. 1 hops, and it's a stolen base for Jade Queen, his 2nd stolen base of the game. And now runner in scoring position here as the Bee Diggers are looking to tie the game in the bottom of the fourth inning. Yeah, that's why it was almost comical that when Queen got his first hit, they tried to throw him out from right field with all that speed. Offering up and away with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ben Garrett. How special would it be for a lot of these Bee Digger starters for the first time if they can pick up a victory here? But lots of baseball to go. 2-1. Segui looks back. Segui looks in. Segui looks back. Segui comes home. And that is off the glove of the catcher, Drew Book. And it's outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. No advance there. It just basically got a piece of his glove, and the baseball didn't move anywhere except to the ground. Garrett awaits the 3-1, and he takes it for a strike, a fastball at the knees. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That was the 70th pitch by Jacob Segui. Off of second is Jade Queen. Is the tying run for Brush. And Segui fires, and the curveball is up and in. In fact, it hit him. Ben Garrett has hit for the 2nd time in the game. And that'll bring up Josiah Henry, who grounded into a 6-3 double play. Now you wonder how much speed Henry's got. I mean, he couldn't really test it the first time out when he hit that ground ball because it was right to Sheets. And you might be able to put Queen in motion. He's got so much speed. He's stolen second base easily. The first baseman, Sanamaso, out to talk to his pitcher. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Sterling leads Brush 2-1. Errors have contributed to runs for both teams. And the pitch. And that fastball backs Henry off the plate. It's 1-0. Scoreboard shows 0-0 there, but it should be ball 1. And Segui fires, and that fastball's in the dirt, scooped up by Book. 2 balls and no strikes. Again, that's the one thing the Bee Diggers have not done this season, as I alluded to earlier. They're not swinging at bad pitches. They will take the walk. 2-0 pitch. That's there for a strike with a fastball belt high. On the outer half, it's 2-1. At second is Jade Queen. He singled. Ben Garrett was hit by a 3-2 pitch. And Jacob Segui fires. Swung on and missed. A fastball that tied him up. A late swing by Henry. And it's 2-2. With a veteran pitcher, Justin Griffith, on deck. Or veteran in terms of a 3-year starter. 2-2 to Henry. Segui fires. Breaking ball swung on, grounded to the first baseman, and the throw to second is 1. Sheets back to first, and that's going to be late. That'll be a 3-6 fielder's choice. Eliminating the trail runner, Ben Garrett at second. Now first and third for Justin Griffith. Yeah, it was really not a double play ground ball as Sanamaso came up with it. But Caden Sheets went through with a throw to see if he could somehow pull it off. So here is Griffith. The stretch. And the offering. And a check swing. He takes the fastball for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Griffith has popped up and grounded out. He's 0 for 2. And the offering. And the breaking ball is up and away. And he popped to left and grounded to the first baseman, Sanamaso. Off of third is Queen. Henry at first with 2 down in the bottom of the 4th. Sterling with a 1-run advantage. And Griffith awaits the pitch. Here it is. And he swings and he fouls it off to the left on the breaking ball. Now he's in a 1-2 hole. Serving Northeast Colorado for 3 generations, Hilltop Garage. Committed to their customers with quality service and reasonable prices. In need of a tow, they're at 522-5757. The pitch. Fastball is high. The throw's going to go through to second, and Sheets will tag Henry for the out. And he's nailed at second base, caught stealing. Queen did not break for the plate, but Henry was tagged out on the caught stealing. And the Bee Diggers do not score here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Brush picks up a hit, no errors, and a man left. We head to the fifth after the break. In Brush, it's Sterling 2, and the Bead Diggers 1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. I'm John Beltran, back from beautiful Sunset Baseball Field in Brush on a very windy Tuesday as the Bead Diggers in their league opener, well, their league home opener, that is, trail the Sterling Tigers 2-1. Sterling scored both of their runs in the second. That was the inning the Bead Diggers were able to score their run. It'll be Drew Book, followed by Jacob Segui and Grayson Dudley, 3, 4, and 5, against Justin Griffith. And the pitch is high, 1 ball and no strikes. Book singled and popped out. And the pitch swung on and missed with a fastball. And the count is at 1-1. Justin Griffith kicks and fires, way outside. Ball 2, strike 1. The line score reads as follows: 2 runs and only 2 hits for Sterling. They've committed 2 errors and left 6 on base. 1 run, 4 hits, 2 errors. For the Bead Diggers, they have committed 5, or check that, they've left 5 on base. Swung on, and that ball is driven in the air to center field. Carson Rule to his left will make the two-handed grab for the out, and there's 1 down here in the 5th inning. And again, Justin Griffith is doing his job. He might be able to get into the 6th, but he needs a quick inning. He's thrown 82 pitches thus far. You cannot allow a base runner or 2 in this inning. In fact, he's not retired the side in order. Neither is Jacob Segui. So these pitchers have thrown well with men on base. Segui is up there. And the breaking ball is a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Segui walked and grounded back to the mound. The pitch. And that's taken for a strike at the knees. And the count is leveled at 1-1. Lefty against lefty here at the top of the 5th inning. And the offering swung on, and that is hit slowly on the right side on the ground. And it'll be picked up by Griffith. He'll tag the hitter going by. And there's 2 down. A nice athletic play there on that slow roller hit by Segui as Justin Griffith makes the play. So 2 down here in the top half of the 5th inning. And that'll bring up Grayson Dudley, who lined to the third baseman Garrett and walked. He's 0 for 1. Come on, let's get this third out. And that is a fastball for a strike. Bell tied, 0-1. Yeah, just a huge hitter here for Griffith. Get back on that bench with the Bead Diggers only trailing by a run. The pitch. And that is down and in. Put some steam behind that pitch. And the count is at 1 ball and 1 strike. Here to Grayson Dudley with 2 out of the 5th inning. And Griffith fires way outside. Ball 2, strike 1. On deck is Dylan Santamasso. Griffith wants him to hit in the 6th inning. And Griffith stepping off the mound to compose himself. Let's see if he can throw a 2-1 strike. Swing and a miss. He blew the fastball right by him on the outer half. It's 2-2. Griffith has struck out Austin Nelson a couple of times. And the pitch. Swing and a miss, and he blew him away. A 1-2-3 inning for Justin Griffith as he fans Grayson Dudley. We got a good one here in Brush as Griffith will lead off for the Bead Diggers in the bottom of the 6th inning, or the bottom of the 5th, I should say. The score, Sterling 2, Brush 1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. To the bottom of the 5th inning we go at Sunset Baseball Field in Brush. The Bead Diggers are looking for the equalizer as they trail the Sterling Tigers 2-1. And Justin Griffith will lead off the Bead Diggers in the last 2 innings. Have had a runner called out on the base pass to end the inning. Colin Cole 2 innings ago, and Josiah Henry was the man who was caught stealing the last inning. That pitch is up and away, and then swing and a miss. On the fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, Griffith 0 for 2. And the offering swung on line foul. Right to the screen. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Segui has thrown 83 pitches, so by the end of this frame, he might actually end up throwing more than Griffith has. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Bead Digger pitcher. And the right-hander, Segui, fires. Fastball is upstairs. In fact, Book had to catch that one standing. And the count is level at 2-2. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Boy, he pulled the string on that one. And on that breaking ball, Justin Griffith strikes out. That'll bring up Carson Rule, who has reached on an error, and he's also singled, so he's 1 for 2 in the game. And the Bee Diggers are looking to mount a threat in the bottom of the 5th inning, but Justin Griffith has been retired. Wind and pitch, and that fastball is a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. Segui fires. That's right there for a strike. Took something off it. It's 1-1. Segui now with 4 strikeouts in the game. And he comes home. And the breaking ball is up and in. Ball 2, strike 1 to Carson Rule. 1 out and the bases empty in the bottom of the 5th inning. Man, I hope it's not a 2-1 final. I mean, not only because the Bee Diggers are trailing, but these runs have been accompanied by errors. You want these teams to earn it. Swung on and fouled back. Got a piece of the baseball. Counted 2 balls and 2 strikes. Both starting pitchers have battled at times, but Griffith is getting stronger, and Jacob Segui is looking for a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the 5th. Gets a sign from Drew Book. And the pitch. And the curveball is up and in. 3-2 to Carson Rule, the center fielder today for Brush. Heading from the right side, and the offering. Swing and a miss. He got blown away with that pitch up and away. And that's 2 strikeouts to begin this inning for Jacob Segui. He's got 5 in the game. And now batting for Brush, the number 3 hitter in this lineup, Bryson Wooldridge, who has struck out twice. Once looking, once swinging. Wind by Segui in the pitch. And that is down and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Segui's over 90 pitches, so he's thrown more than Justin Griffith. Segui delivers. Swung on and popped up into shallow left field along the line into foul territory, and the ball is not caught out there by Nelson. Boy, he ranged back, he ranged to his right, he ranged in, and the ball drops foul. And it's 1-1 because it's such a wild wind. We will not score that an error, but certainly if you range underneath that baseball, you make that catch. But that's how significant the wind is when the ball is hit in the air. And we haven't had too many balls hit in the air in this game at all. A couple in the outfield, maybe 3 in the outfield to pitch. Swung on and fouled back on the high fastball. Count is at 1 ball and 2 strikes with the bases empty and 2 down in the bottom of the 5th. And Sterling has a 2-1 lead despite generating just 2 hits off Brush starter Justin Griffith. Wooldridge awaits, and the offering. Swing, and the ball is fouled at the plate. They'll have to throw to first, and it wasn't a foul. He missed it completely, and they complete the strikeout as Book throws to Santa Maso. And Jacob Segui strikes out the side in order here in the 5th inning. To the 6th we go. Sterling 2, Brush 1 on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. Justin Griffith is at 90 pitches as we head to the 6th inning in the offering. And the curveball is in there for a strike. To Dylan Santamaso. He reached on an error and walked. He's 0 for 1, the offering. Swung on and grounded to third. Ben Garrett's got it on that sharp hop. He fires to first. And there's 1 down as Santamaso's retired. And Ben Garrett has done a splendid job over at third base for Brush today. And that'll bring up Dustin Ferguson. He got on base via an error as well. And then he grounded into a fielder's choice. So he is 0 for 2. Lefty against lefty. And the pitch. And the breaking ball is down and in. So it's very realistic that Griffith can pitch through the 6th, but I doubt he'll be able to pitch the 7th. He'd have to retire these hitters so quickly. The offering inside with a changeup. 2 balls and no strikes. The pitch. And that is, I believe that's up and away, 3-0. That's the thing. Justin has gotten into a rhythm at times and loses control. But that one is there for a strike. Yeah, I believe, let's see, I think he's issued 5 walks in the game. Griffith ready. 3-1. Nearly hit him. For Justin Griffith, that's the 6th walk he has issued in the game. And this time it's Ferguson who reaches. Caden Sheets, the freshman, singled and grounded out. He is 1 for 2. And just as was the case on Saturday, when runs were at a premium, same case today, with a 2-1 Sterling lead in the 6th. The offering swung on and grounded to third. Garrett goes to second for 1, and back to first, off the hop, and that skips by Woolridge to the screen. He picks up the ball, throws towards second, and that ball sails into left field, and backed up there by Hunter Ludgate. So it'll be a 5-4 fielder's choice, and then on the one-hop throw there by Jade Queen, the second baseman, advancing to second is Sheets, and there's 2 down. And what happened there is that Jade Queen did not get a good grip on that baseball at all. And the Bee-Diggers have now committed 3 errors in the game. And another run is out there at second. But Justin Griffith looking to thwart that rally. The pitch swung on and grounded towards short. Gunnar Guzman to his right. Slow roller. Fields fires to first. That'll be late. It's an infield hit for Trevor Roush, who's now 1 for 2. Nothing that Guzman could do there. That ball was hit so slowly on the ground. And you've got 2 freshmen on the base paths with 2 down. Sheets at third and Roush at first. That'll bring up Tristan Manley, a big hitter for Brush in this game. He is 0 for 1. He's bunted his way out. He's walked and been hit by a pitch. Griffith comes home, and that's taken for a strike. Took something off that pitch at the knees. It's 0-1. That was pitch number 100 unofficially for Justin Griffith, but the Bee-Diggers will have to go to the bullpen in the 7th. Regardless of what happens here, Griffith has done an outstanding job. The pitch swung on and grounded up the middle. The shortstop Guzman on a Sunday hop. Now Bobbles throws to first late, and a run is going to score. A run is going to score. It's an unearned run, and Sterling now leads 3-1. And that's the second error of the inning, very similar to the second inning when the Bee-Diggers committed 2 errors in that frame. So first and second now, and Sterling is tacked on to the lead. The pitch, and that is upstairs to Austin Nelson, who struck out twice and grounded out. He's 0 for 3. Yeah, in the end, after taking some baby hops, it took a Sunday hop, and Guzman, I don't think, expected it. But if he fields that cleanly, he has a flip to second, but instead he had to go the long way. 2 balls and no strikes. That's pitch number 103. Griffith can pitch to another hitter if he cannot retire Nelson, but let's see if Coach Fergus gives him the option. 2-0 pitch. Swung on and grounded up the middle. The shortstop Guzman backs up. A long throw to first is high and into the Sterling dugout. And, well, it ricocheted off the pole there. So it didn't get all the way into the dugout. But that's another error here by Guzman. That's 3 errors by the Bee-Diggers in the inning. And the bases are loaded. And now Brush, just 2 games removed from committing 6 errors against Ken Denver at 5 in the game. So the bases are loaded for Drew Book, who singled and popped out twice. The pitch, down and in. 1 ball and no strikes on pitch number 105. Yeah, Guzman let that ball play him a little bit, which means that it took longer to get to him. And the 1-0 swung on and grounded to third, and Ben Garrett has it, sets, throws to first, and that ends the inning as the Bee-Digger third baseman makes the play. However, Sterling has added to the lead. 1 run on 1 hit, 3 B-Digger errors, and the bases were left loaded. Sterling has stranded 9 through 5.5 innings, but they lead the game over Brush 3-1 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Brush trails Sterling 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the B-Diggers really got a huge break there off of one of those errors by Gunnar Guzman when he threw it over the head of Bryson Wooldridge. It deflected off a post. If that does not deflect off a post and back into the field of play, Sterling scores another run. Hopefully that's a good sign for the B-Diggers that they can come back in this game. But again, only down 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters are coming up. Hunter Ludgate, Colin Cole, and Gunnar Guzman. The pitch by Jacob Segi is a fastball for a strike. Justin Griffith has not allowed an earned run in this game. All runs are unearned. Same story for Segi and the pitch. And that's taken for a strike as well at the knees. It is 0-2. Ludgate has singled and struck out. He's 1 for 2. Fastball is up and in. Yeah, both teams will have to go to the bullpen in the 7th inning. Justin Griffith can still pitch to one hitter, but I don't know if Coach Fergus is going to opt for that. The offering, and that is inside on the off-speed. The count is at 2-2. The B-Diggers have a history of winning so many of these close games at home. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and the pitch, and the breaking ball is down and away. It's 3-2. Segi struck out the side in the 5th inning. The pitch swung on and chopped over the mound. The shortstop Sheets charges and then bobbles the ball and has no play. Did not field that cleanly. And the B-Diggers have a base runner. And for Caden Sheets, that'll be his 2nd error and the 3rd by Sterling in the game. If he comes up with it cleanly, he would have thrown out Ludgate. But the B-Diggers, again, that's why they have a knack for doing this, have the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 6th inning for Colin Cole. Cole has walked twice. He's been issued 7 walks total in the last 3 games. And he bunts it right back to the mound, fielded by Segi. He's going to fire to second and into center field. That'll go as a sacrifice. But Ludgate got down that first to second base path very quickly. I was going to say down the line, but there's no line from first to second. We'll call it a straight-up sacrifice. No error. Because I don't think he's got him at second anyway, to be honest with you. I don't think he's got him at second. So it's a sacrifice. And the pitch. And that's off the glove of the catcher Book. And now to third is going to be Ludgate. And into second will be Colin Cole. Wow, now the B-Diggers with Gunnar Guzman up there have got a shot to tie the game. That's a pass ball, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. And this started with an error. That was pitch number 103 by Segi. Guzman has popped out and grounded out. And the offering. Swung on and grounded a short. To his right is Sheets. He's got a man in a rundown to third, and Colin Cole's going to be tagged out by the third baseman Nelson. Scoring on the play will be Hunter Ludgate. It will be an RBI for Gunnar Guzman. And again, the B-Diggers have not been very solid on the base paths. They made a few mistakes today because Colin Cole really had no shot right there with a ball hit right to Sheets and the play right in front of him, but it is a 3-2 game. The fielder's choice goes 6-5. The stretch and the pitch, and that is taken upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Throw back to first, and back in standing there is Gunnar Guzman. Jade Queen is the batter. He singled twice. He has 2 Brush's 4 hits. This is the man to have up there the pitch. And the breaking ball is going to be taken. Is that in there or is it just off the plate? No, that's a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, the B-Diggers have had a man eliminated at second, 1 at first, 1 at third. The pitch swung on and popped up into right center field. It's got some carry to it. Ferguson, the center fielder, makes the catch. Back to first is Guzman. and there's 2 down as Jade Queen is retired for the first time today. And that'll send up Ben Garrett, who's been hit by a pitch twice. And base running has not been a strength for Brush so far this year. I mean, when you look at the number of players that have been tagged out on the base pass, and now with Jacob Segui at 107 pitches, I mean, he can still pitch to this batter. And he will. So it will be left up to the bullpen in the 7th. But the B-Diggers want to inflict more damage here in the 6th, trailing by a run. Pitch to Garrett. And that is upstairs for a ball. Oh, they called that a strike. Excuse me. Boy, the catcher stood up. I didn't even see him get rung up there for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike. The pitch. And that's in the dirt. That's blocked by Book. No advance for Guzman, and the count is at 1-1. This will be the final hitter faced by Jacob Segui in the game, because this will be pitch number 110. That's the limit. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down, 1 on, 1 across for Brush. Throw back to first, and back in diving is Guzman. Very competitive game. I'm not going to say it's a great game. 8 errors combined, but it is a very competitive game here in Brush. The stretch and the offering, and that is taken. The throw back to first, Guzman back in diving that time, or sliding, I should say. It was a strike at 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Segui at the belt. Garrett awaits the pitch, and the curveball is chopped over the mound. The shortstop Sheets underhands to second for the force, and that will end the bottom of the 6th inning for the B-Diggers. However, Brush does score a run, and the B-Diggers score that run here in the bottom of the 6th inning on no hits, 1 error, and a man left. Let's head to the 7th and final frame with the score. Sterling 3 and the B-Diggers 2 on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. Let's head to the 7th inning where the B-Diggers trail the Sterling Tigers 3-2. Justin Griffith, who had a terrific outing, is in center field now, and Carson Rule just switches places with him. The left-hander Rule will face Jacob Segui, Grayson Dudley, and Dylan Santamaso, with Sterling holding a 3-2 lead. And again, errors have been the contributor for both offenses despite the limited number of runs. And Brush looked like they were in business there in the bottom of the 6th inning, 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. And then Gunnar Guzman hit a grounder to the shortstop Caden Sheets. And he had Colin Cole caught in a rundown, and he threw to the 3rd baseman Nelson, who tagged him out, and that kind of thwarted that rally. But if the B-Diggers can keep it at 3-2, then they certainly have an opportunity. They'll have an opportunity anyway in the bottom of the 7th inning, but you want to keep it right here with this particular score. All right, so the first hitter will be Jacob Segui. He has walked and grounded out twice, sitting at 0 for 2 in the game. And this will be lefty against lefty. I can tell you my son is a left-handed hitter, and he cannot stand left-handed pitchers. Certainly a challenge. Fastball by Rule is up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Justin Griffith today went 6 innings, throwing 106 pitches. The pitch, and that's taken for a strike at the knees, allowing only 3 hits. He struck out 3, did walk 6. That's the one negative on him, but he allowed 3 runs. None of them were earned. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch to Segui, and that is upstairs. Ball 2, strike 1. 3-2, Sterling in the top of the 7th inning. And Carson Rule in to try to keep this at a 3-2 score. The B-Digger left-hander turns and fires. And that's a beautiful pitch, belt high for a strike. Took something off of that, and it's 2-2. Rule ready. 2 balls, 2 strikes in the offering. Swung on, and that one's grounded on the right side. The second baseman, Queen, backhands, throws off balance to first and late. And did that ball skip into the dugout? Or did it? Let's see, we're going to check that. Nope, Segui's not headed to second. That will be an infield single. Oh, no, he's headed to second. So that's going to be a single by Segui, and an error on the throw there by Jade Queen. And again, the Bee Diggers continue with their defensive struggles. However, this is not the same team that they've had defensively over the first 3 games. Here is Grayson Dudley, so they're looking for an insurance run. And that ball was just hit perfectly to the right of Queen, and he didn't have much of a shot there. At least to throw him out, but yeah, Wooldridge has not been able to scoop anything over there. He hasn't had many opportunities, though. Some of the throws have been over his head, which you can't do unless you're 8 feet tall. All right, so Dudley bats. He's lined out, walked, and struck out. Officially at 0 for 2. Off of second with nobody out is Jacob Segi. The stretch by the left-hander Rule. The long pause and the pitch, and he's scoring to bunt. He lays it down out in front of the plate, barehanded by Cole, and he's got no play. Cole has got no play. There was nobody at first. Wooldridge was coming in, and Queen was not at first base, so there was no play. It'll be scored a base hit. And first and third now, and the Bee Diggers are in significant trouble. Sterling had just 3 hits going into the inning. They've got 2 in this frame. And let's see if Coach Fergus plays the infield in with Dylan Sanamaso, who is 0 for 2, stepping up to the plate. Carson Rule looks at first. The pitch, and that is taken a little bit high. 1 ball and no strikes. Well, a ground ball hit perfectly with an error, got Segi to second, and then a bunt, which if you have a Bee Digger at first, it would have been an out, but nobody was there. 1-0 pitch. That's very high. 2-0. And the Bee Diggers now fear that they're in danger of having Sterling put up a crooked number in this inning. Dustin Ferguson, another left-handed hitter, is on deck. 3-2 Sterling. 2 runs in the second, 1 in the sixth. The Bee Diggers with a run in the second and 1 in the sixth. 2 balls, no strikes. Off of third is Segi. Off of first is Dudley. The stretch by Carson Rule. And the offering. And that is high. Runner going to second. No throw. And that will be a courtesy runner anyways. That's Christian Rose in there at second for Sterling. The pitch. Way outside. It's a walk to Sanamaso. And the bases are loaded for Dylan Ferguson. He got on via the air the first time up, then grounded into a fielder's choice, and then walked. 0 for 2. Brush has got to come up with something right now because for the second time in 3 games, they have committed 6 errors. But they still have a good shot here, trailing 3-2 in the 7th, but there's nobody out. The stretch and the offering, and that's taken for a strike. He grooved that one in there. It's 0-1. Carson Rule needs a pop-up or a strikeout or a grounder back to the mound. A nice 1-2-3 to get this thing started. Rule looks back. 0-1. And that is inside it. Back Ferguson off the plate. The count levels at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 with the bases loaded. Rule delivers. Strike 2. Oh, I threw that one just above belt level. At third is Segi. Rose at second. Sanamaso at first. The Tigers with a 3-2 lead over the Bee Diggers in the first of 2 meetings this season. They'll play again next month in Sterling. The pitch swung on and fouled back. And the count remains at 1-2 to the left-handed hitting center fielder, Dustin Ferguson. Yeah, the Sterling team has been good against Brush this season, beating them in football and in basketball, trying for a win in baseball. The pitch is swung on, and that one is fouled. Off to the right side. Stays at 1-2. Yeah, you find out throughout the course of a few outings whether a pitcher has strikeout stuff in his repertoire. That's what Rule wants right now. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ferguson. And the pitch, and that is up and away. And the count levels at 2-2. The Bee Diggers are playing at double play depth, so if they can turn 2, they will sacrifice a run for a couple of outs. 2-2 pitch. Down and away. And now you got to throw it in the strike zone. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dustin Ferguson. We are in the 7th inning. We've had a tight game all the way through. But Sterling right now has got a humongous threat. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And a pitch to Ferguson. Swung on. That ball is grounded to the first baseman, Woolridge. He goes to the plate, and he's going to be safe. Safe at the plate. I don't know if that ball was dropped. That'll be scored a fielder's choice, no error. Yeah, he might have beat that straight up. As Segi scores, it's now 4-2. Oh, boy. I mean, the ball ended up on the ground, but I think he beat it anyway. It was a bang-bang play, and that's a tough one to score from this vantage point. Nonetheless, it's 4-2 in favor of Sterling. Bases remain loaded, nobody out. Here's Caden Sheets, the offering. And that is up and away. Caden Sheets is singled, grounded out, and hit into a fielder's choice. And Carson Rule still looking for his first out, but quite frankly, he's pitching into some very bad luck here. 1-0. That's a strike right there with a fastball belt high, and the count levels at 1-1. At third is Rose, Sanamaso at second, Ferguson at first. The stretch and the pitch. Swung on. That ball is lifted into shallow right center field, and that's going to be caught over there, and the throw is going to be towards third base. And now Woolridge will throw it over there safe. A run scores as the play was made there by Josiah Henry on the sac fly by Caden Sheets. The lead is now 5-2 for Sterling as they've tallied 2 here in the 7th inning. And you've got runners at the corners. That's the first out of the frame. But the B-Diggers needed that in a desperate way. And here is Trevor Roush, who's grounded out, walked, and singled. Ben Garrett playing in at third. The pitch. Swung on. That's popped foul and out of play. No balls and 1 strike. This is an inning the B-Diggers would like to forget. They had opportunities to hold down this team. But again, when you've got essentially a brand new infield, you're going to expect some miscues, and that's what's happened in this game. The stretch by Rule. And the offering, runner going, that is high. The throw's going to go through to second, the slide, and then the ball skips away, but backed up nicely there by Jade Queen. Should be a ball and a strike. Stolen base there for Dustin Ferguson. With 1 out here in the 7th. The left-hander Rule with 2 men in scoring position. Fires. Swing and a miss. Count is now sitting at 1-2. Well, it's got 0-2 on the board. Is that right? Oh, maybe the other one was called a strike. And the pitch is high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here to Trevor Roush. Rule's already thrown 24 pitches unofficially. And the pitch. And that is up and away, with the count moving to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5-2 Sterling. They scored 2 in the first, 1 in the 6th, now 2 so far in the 7th. The B-Diggers have to keep it right there to have a manageable shot in the bottom of the 7th. Rule comes home. Swing and a miss and a pitch down and away. And that's a big strikeout for Carson Rule. And there are 2 outs. 2 outs for Tristan Manley. This will be Manley's 4th plate appearance. He bunted into an out, walked, hit by a pitch, and reached on an error. 2nd and 3rd, the offering. It's upstairs. As Ferguson did take that base moments ago. 1 ball and no strikes. 5-2, you feel you have a shot. If this becomes 7-2, different story. Rule comes home, and that's taken for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. No idea who Sterling is going to pitch in the bottom of the 7th inning, because Jacob Segi will be removed due to the pitch limit. At third is Sanamaso. Ferguson at second. The offering. Swung on and fouled. Count at 1 strikes. Man, that wind has not let up the entire game. It's got a personality of its own. 1 strikes. Here to Tristan Manley in the 7th. Carson Rule gets the sign from Colin Cole. And he delivers. Up and away. The count moves to 2-2. Carson Rule now at the 30-pitch mark just in this 7th inning alone, but he's done a pretty good job. Again, he's pitched into some very unfortunate luck. Runners take their leads out of the stretch, and the pitch swung on and grounded right side foul into the Sterling dugout. Approaching the 2-hour mark in this game. We started just a bit tardy. First pitch came at about 4:06. So here we go again. It'll be another 2-2 pitch to Manley. And that ball hit him. Got him right in the lower back. Or somewhere in that area. Nonetheless, the bases are loaded. And Austin Nelson, who is 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, will now bat. But that was all against the starter, Justin Griffith. And now you definitely have to retire this hitter. If not, the Bee Diggers will have a minimal chance of coming back at the bottom of the 7th inning. This inning has not been pretty, even for Sterling. It's not like they've done a lot. And the Bee Diggers actually played some pretty good defense until the middle innings, and then they got into trouble, including in this inning. So Nelson steps in from the right side. Sanamaso, Ferguson, and Manley, 3rd to 1st. And that pitch is up and away. 1 no strikes. Rule at just about a 50-50 ratio, 17 strikes and 16 balls. And he's pitching out of the stretch with the bases loaded and 2 down in the 7th. Swung on and popped up along the right field side, and it's foul. And the count levels at 1-1. And Coach Fergus knows that winning is nice, but it can't just be about winning, but playing well and executing the pitch. Swung on and grounded to 3rd, and Ben Garrett steps on the bag for the force, and that has been one huge positive for the Bee Diggers in this game. Ben Garrett has played outstanding at 3rd base. All right, so they do score a couple of runs, and we're talking about Sterling, but all they got were a couple of hits, and the Bee Diggers committed an error. The bases were left loaded. Let's head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's Sterling 5 and the Bee Diggers 2 on 1010 KSLR and KSLR.com. Let's head to the bottom of the 7th inning where the Bee Diggers trail the Sterling Tigers in brush. The score is 5-2. As Sterling did score a couple of insurance runs. Chris Sherbarth. Man, this kid is a very good-looking sophomore left-hander. Is on the mound to close it out here for the Tigers in the 7th. Can the Bee Diggers generate a rally? They've had a couple of opportunities in this game. And they will be sending up Josiah Henry. Let's see if he does lead off indeed from this 9-hole, followed by Justin Griffith and Carson Rule. And that's who will step in for the Bee Diggers to lead off the bottom of the 7th. Henry is grounded into a 6-3 double play and then hit into another fielder's choice. And with a shortstop and a second baseman for Sterling, both are freshmen, and then this sophomore pitcher, they've got a bright future. And that pitch is in there for a strike against Henry. No balls and 1 strike. Here's the wine and offering, and that's way outside. The count levels at 1-1. Sterling is going for their 2nd victory of the year, and the Bee Diggers are vying for their 1st, but they need 4 runs in this inning to win it or 3 to extend the game. And the pitch, and that is a little bit high. 2-1. Can Henry coax himself into a walk? The pitch. Swung on and hit in the air down the right side, and it's twisting foul. And the count is at 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter for Brush, Josiah Henry, in the bottom of the 7th inning. B-Diggers down by 3. Line and pitch, and the breaking ball swung on and grounded right back to the mound, and the toss to first as Henry is retired 0 for 3 in this game as Sherbarth makes the toss. So Sherbarth will now face Justin Griffith, who flied to left, grounded to first, and struck out. So he is 0 for 3. The B-Diggers have just 4 hits in the game. Sterling has only 5. 2 of those from Jade Queen, by the way, and that pitch is up and in. 1 ball and no strikes to Griffith. B-Diggers are back home on Thursday against the Eaton Reds. As you are listening to 1010 KSIR, Brush, Fort Morgan, Weldona, and KSIR.com took something off that pitch, and it's in there for a strike on the inner half to Griffith. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the wine and offering, and that's down and away. It is 2-1 with Carson Rule on deck. The B-Diggers need a couple here before they have the tying run at the plate. Here's the wine and pitch. Swung on, that's grounded foul up the first base side. Ball 2, strike 2 to Griffith. 1 down, and the base is empty in the bottom of the 7th. Sterling with a 5-2 lead. There have been as many errors in this game as there have been hits. But it's been tight throughout. And Chris Sherbarth, and now we might have an issue near the plate. Justin Griffith trying to compose himself. Or are they waiting for a baseball? I think Griffith is okay, but Coach Kevin Fergus is out towards the home plate area. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Griffith will settle back into the box. And Chris Sherbarth delivers the pitch. That is a called strike 3 on the outer half at the knees. And Griffith strikes out for the 2nd straight time. Uncharacteristically, he's 0 for 4. And there's 2 down for Carson Rule. He reached on an air, singled, and struck out swinging. 1 for 3 in the game. The left-hander looks in. And a pitch, and that's in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Here to Carson Rule. The B-Diggers need Rule and Wooldridge up there to send a tying run to the plate and Hunter Ludgate. It's a thin squad without 5 of their players today, and for the next 3 games, that's in the dirt. It's 2-0. The innings that Sterling scored in were the innings that Brush has scored in, except the 7th. The B-Diggers don't have a run yet in this frame, and Sterling scored 2 in the top of the frame. 2-0 pitch. Swung on, lined, and caught by the shortstop, Caden Sheets. And Sterling wins the game by a score of 5-2. Let's take a 2-minute break, and we'll wrap it up after this. Sterling 5, Brush 2 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The B-Digger postgame show is brought to you by Mr. D's Ace Farm and Home Center. They're your headquarters for your home farm and ranch supplies, from plumbing to feed, with 3 locations to serve you: Sterling, Brush, and Fort Morgan. Mr. D's Ace Farm and Home Center. John Beltran back with you. The final score: Sterling defeats Brush in Brush 5-2. For Sterling, 5 runs on 5 hits, 3 errors, 12 left on base for the Tigers. The B-Diggers, 2 runs, 4 hits, 6 errors, 6 left on base. The winning pitcher was Jacob Segi, going 6 innings, and the loss went to Justin Griffith, even though he did not allow a single earned run. Time of the game, 2 hours and 6 minutes, as this game was scoreless. But then in the 2nd inning, the B-Diggers made a couple of miscues as Sterling was able to take a 2-0 lead with their first run scoring on an error, and then their second run on a ground-out hit by Trevor Roush. The B-Diggers did counter in the bottom of the 1st inning as Jade Queen, or the 2nd, I should say, he led off with a single and then would later score on a Sterling error. It stayed at 2-1 until we got to the 6th inning of play. So this was Justin Griffith for Brush against Jacob Segi of Sterling, and the defenses were holding their own for the most part. But then Sterling came through to extend the lead as Tristan Manley would reach on an error, and that would score Caden Sheets to make it 3-1. And then later on in the frame, they made it 4-1. Or check that. Actually, the B-Diggers counter with a run, so let me correct that. As the B-Diggers counter with a run in the bottom of the 6th inning to make it 3-2, as Gunnar Guzman would reach on a fielder's choice, and scoring there would be, let's see, Hunter Ludgate was able to cross home plate. But then in the top of the 7th inning with Carson Rule on the mound, an infield single and an error on the same play got things going for Sterling. Dustin Ferguson would reach on a fielder's choice, and scoring on the play would be Jacob Segi. And then a sacrifice fly from Caden Sheets made it 5-2. The B-Diggers could not generate anything in the bottom of the 7th inning as they lose that game by 3 runs, as Sterling moves to 2-1 and the B-Diggers fall to 0-4. But the B-Diggers are motivated enough. They'll go for their first victory coming up on Thursday here in Brush at 4 o'clock when they take on the Eaton Reds. As always, a very outstanding job by our sound engineer and producer, Isaac Greenwood. The Avalanche are coming up next against the Chicago Blackhawks. The final score from Brush today, Sterling 5 and the Brush B-Diggers 2, right here on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.